Barry, we all talk about the global education transformation, and it's a huge excitement around academics, governments, really companies and NGOs to contribute to this process. And I think we are all agreeing that this is a holistic approach that we need to take and address the access in schools, address connectivity in schools, teacher professional development, curriculum, standards, content development, and last but not least, assessment. So when we started the project, Assessment and Teaching for 21st Century Skills, why was it that you accepted the role as executive director?
Well, I was interested in it for several reasons. One is that I think the question of the place of the so-called 21st century skills is important. And from my own point of view, it was important because I was chairing a new national curriculum effort in Australia where we were, in addition to thinking about traditional curriculum areas, thinking about the place of these skills and how they're best dealt with, whether embedded in the traditional areas or done separately. But that raises all the questions to begin with of what they are, just which skills are we speaking of. And that's what this project was partly about, to identify the 21st century skills. But what attracted me as well, partly because I'm a measurement person, was that it's based on a recognition that if you want people to pay attention to skills in the educational setting, you need both to be able to be clear about what they are and to be able to measure them. And that's why this project's of interest. And I think it's quite properly founded on the view that if you can't define and measure, people won't pay attention to things.
We have mostly, let's say, developed countries right now as pilot countries. There were lots of countries approaching you to join the project, including developing countries. Do you see an issue or a challenge with that is bigger than currently pilot countries on board?
Yes, and it's not an easy one to manage actually, because we've got to be careful we don't dissipate our effort too much this year in this crucial development phase. So we're not proposing to expand beyond the existing 6 countries for the ones fully engaged with us. But we are going to set up a means for electronic engagement of other countries to create a kind of digital community in which they can share ideas not only with themselves but also with us. But it will be an engagement of a different kind from that of the first 6. And the first 6, you're right, are all developed countries, but they're diverse. We made sure they were not all English language countries. We've got Finland, we've got Portugal, but they're all interesting countries in terms of the current use of technology.
Right. So it will be very interesting next year to see, how countries from the Middle East, countries from Asia or others, would actually join the project and leverage what the outcomes are from the others. And what about new companies that are showing interest to join?
Well, there's been some expression, and our view is that they can join. They can join in the sense of supporting work, financially supporting work, and we only impose 3 conditions. One is that the work be work we want to do. The second is that they have competence in the area that they are wanting to assist us in, and the third is that they agree that everything will be in the public domain. They won't own it at the end, because Cisco, Intel and Microsoft have said, we won't own it at the end. It's available for everyone. And I have to say, that's been a very important feature of this work that's enabled me to attract so many academic researchers.
Yeah, and I think this great that you highlighted this at the end, and overall the public-private partnership model that the whole project actually is based on. How did it feel? How was it for you? Oh,
it's fine for me, but you heard some questions here these days in this conference, people who are suspicious about the role of the corporates, but the evidence, I think, is clear, at least in this case, that there's no interference, there's hopes, there's expectations, there's an attempt to help define the vision of the project, but there's no attempt to control or own the product.
Thank you very much, Barry.
Welcome.